Now, even though there's a lot of genres on this channel that we frequent, for example, we do a lot of slasher films, I pride myself on the fact that this channel has a lot of variety. And with that being said, a couple of weeks ago we did John Wick Chapter 4. Today, we're doing a film that could not possibly be more different, as we are going to look at Ashens and the Quest for the Gamechild, released in 2013. This is also a Twitch points request by James. Thank you, James, for using your points on this. So for those who don't know, Stuart Ashen, better known as Ashens, is a YouTuber who has been on this website since 2006. He still does YouTube to this day and has spent the last 18 years reviewing counterfeit consumer goods. He decided to eventually turn that into making some films, the first of which was this. And in this film, Ashen sets out on a quest to look for the most rare, useless item of them all, the Gamechild, which was a rip-off of the original Game Boy. Apparently all the Gamechilds have been destroyed except for one, and he's out to find it, with the help of some friends. This film was mostly cast with lesser-known actors and actresses, but also featured roles by two pretty well-known actors, Robert Llewellyn, best known for being Crichton in Red Dwarf, and Warwick Davis, best known for his roles in Leprechaun, Star Wars, and a Harry Potter film series. The film was also partially paid for using crowdfunding. It crowdfunded $73,690 in US money, which ended up comprising 41% of the $180,000 budget. It was originally premiered on YouTube and then was released on DVD and Blu-ray the following year. There was also a sequel film in 2016, and he is currently working on a third film, which is meant to be a horror. Now, before we get into the film, big admittance I must say. I am not a regular watcher of Ashens, and that was my big concern coming into this film review. I did wonder if this was a film more catered towards just this audience with certain things that you would not understand if you weren't a regular watcher of his channel. And was it like that? Well, let's go through it first and I'll tell you after. Ashens and the Quest for the Gamechild, released in 2013. So our film begins with Ashens and his friend Richard going to meet a seller who is selling a counterfeit toy Ashens is interested in. Turns out the counterfeit toy is a counterfeit toy, however, it's not authentic, and the guy runs away with Ashens giving chase. Richard doesn't exactly help Ashens go after the guy, and it turns out the guy was actually working with Ashens' nemesis, named, wait for it, Nemesis. The next day, Ashens is dejected, and his mood is not helped when he gets a magazine in the mail advertising the Gamechild, which is his personal white whale of counterfeit items. He then goes into town where he meets his childhood friend Jeff, who recently moved back. Jeff was recently a spokesperson chef called Chef Excellence for the Terrifically Good Company, but was fired. They have lunch together, but Ashens quickly remembers why he doesn't enjoy Jeff's company and leaves. However, he later finds Jeff crying in the park as he is now homeless, and reluctantly Ashens invites him to stay a night at his place. As you can imagine, Jeff is not a very good house guest and even forces his way into Ashens' secret tat room. This room includes all the most precious, useless things that Ashens has collected, and even has a box for his white whale, the Gamechild. Ashens reveals to Jeff that he once had an opportunity to get his hands on a Gamechild when it was being sold, but Nemesis stole it away from him. After the Gamechilds were recalled, everybody sold theirs for a profit, including Nemesis, but there's rumors that there's still one out there. Jeff tries to convince Ashens to go on a quest to find the Gamechild, but Ashens is like, no, I've given it up, I'm going to sleep. Going to sleep was a terrible idea, however, because then he has a nightmare-fuel claymation dream, which convinces him to go after the Gamechild. And after some pathetic pleading the next day, Jeff convinces Ashens to let him come too. Richard shows up too and he also wants to come, but Ashens turns him down after he let him down the last time. Their first stop is to go meet Ashens' old college professor, who he had a falling out with after the professor stole his girlfriend. They reunite and the professor reveals he also blames Ashens for him getting fired, as somebody snitched to the head at the time, although Ashens says it wasn't him. Professor also does indeed have some info on the Gamechild, but only agrees to give it to Ashens if he beats him in a game of Space Attack. The game is tense, and the professor scores first, to which Ashens responds by putting him in a headlock. One physical assault later, and the professor gives Ashens a piece of paper with some letters on it, which apparently is some sort of code to help him find the Gamechild. Ashens and Jeff then go to lunch, where Jeff moans over the new Chef Excellence, his replacement. Jeff also goes deeper into the details of his firing. Turns out he found out the Terrifically Good Company makes their lasagna the American way, and when he called them out on it, they promptly sacked him. Ashens, meanwhile, using that Gamechild book pamphlet, finds something called the Oracle, which must give them the location. The Oracle is located at the public library. Just one problem. To get deep down into the bowels of the building to get to it, he has to ask Miriam, who is a girl he dated a couple times and then promptly broke things off with. They have a super tense and awkward reunion, but it does end with Miriam giving them access. They find the door to the Oracle, but it's locked, but they also find a keyboard. Ashens then realizes what the letters on the piece of paper mean. They're keyboard notes. He plays them and the floor collapses around them, but before it does completely, they're able to get in the door and get to the Oracle. Using the Oracle, which is a super old computer, they're able to find a map which apparently will lead them to the Gamechild. Miriam agrees to print out this map for them, if she can come too. Ashens agrees, but as she's going to get her stuff, him and Jeff make a run for it. This obviously pisses her off a lot, but then she's confronted later on by Nemesis and a mystery woman who kidnap her. Ashens and Jeff then make their way to a mental asylum to go meet an old friend of Ashens who apparently can translate the map. They get into the facility by giving the guard a fake ID and meet his friend who does not want to give him the location. However, they have to make a run for it after their fake ID is discovered, but before they do, his friend says that the answers they seek are located in Sedinian. As they're running away from the guard, Ashens accidentally butt dials his neighbor, the Silver Skull, who's just trying to practice his keyboard. The Silver Skull overhears them talking about Sedinian, however, and he knows where that is, so he goes down to help. While running, Ashens and Jeff get separated, and Jeff is pulled off to the side by a mysterious figure. And when he reunites with Ashens sometimes later, he looks very nervous. They are then confronted by the Silver Skull, who says he's actually the champion of Sedinian, and offers to take them there. Turns out Sedinian is like a really spooky place that's completely separated by a giant smoke wall, and the Silver Skull is the only person who can really traverse it. He does just that and returns out of Sedinian with a guide, which they'll need to take them to the Gamechild. It also looks like the Silver Skull's about to die, and he asks Ashens to take off his mask, and he's revealed to be Warwick Davis. He's also not actually dying, it was just a joke, and also I'm not sure how he's quite Warwick Davis with the height difference, considering the Silver Skull's like 6 foot, but whatever. Anyway, they have the guide now, and they go on a long, multi-day journey with him, which includes some frisbee, until they end up at an art gallery, which contains the Gamechild. One problem, however, the art gallery is guarded by an electric fence, but the guide's like, don't worry, I know how to handle this, and he touches it, and it shocks him until he dies. On the bright side, however, it shocks him so much that it actually zaps up all the electricity, so now they can just go inside. And there it is, the Gamechild. He finally has it, and the police are here, and they're being arrested. Well, that sucks. Later on at the police station, they're bailed out, and by them, I mean only Jeff. That's weird. Turns out he was bailed out by Nemesis and Ashley, who is Ashens' former girlfriend who cheated on him with the professor all those years ago. Turns out Ashley was using him the whole time. She actually sent him the booklet of the Gamechild. She's the one that bribed Jeff to give him his job back because she also owns the Terrifically Good company, and she wants the Gamechild for reasons. Ashens has been let out of jail, and he has a very bad day until he's cheered up by an adoring fan who may or may not have thought he was Simon Pegg. He then meets 2 wannabe superheroes who agree to drive him to the Terrifically Good company. They also give him some binoculars, some rope, and a cheese knife. And using the binoculars, he looks into the building until he's confronted from behind by Jeff and some security. Jeff then takes one of the security guard's guns, and he's about to kill Ashens, but turns out it was all a ruse, and he turns on a security, and using Ashens' newly acquired rope, they tie them up. Jeff apologizes to Ashens for betraying him, and also reveals that they have Miriam captured, and they have to go in and get her back. And after stealing the security guard outfits, they're able to enter undetected. They then disable the security system and head upstairs where they see another security guard, who turns out is the former Chef Excellence who took Jeff's job, but Jeff just took his job back from him. Jeff creates a distraction which allows Ashens to progress on his own. And here's Nemesis, time for the big showdown, which ends very quickly as Ashens just punches him in the face. Jeff, meanwhile, is also having his own showdown on the roof with the former Chef Excellence. Back to Ashens, who finds Miriam and attempts to untie her, but they're both confronted by Ashley. Ashley has a gun, which causes Ashens to back away, but before he does, he slips Miriam the cheese knife. Back on the roof, the 2 Chef Excellences are having a chef fight, so that's also happening. Back to Ashley, she reveals her master plan. Turns out the Gamechild contains a mini nuclear bomb, and she needs Ashens to unlock it? What? He has a minute to do so, or she'll kill Miriam, and at the last second he's able to do it by using the Konami code. Nemesis also shows up again, and Ashens bests him again by kicking him in the nuts. Elsewhere on the roof, Jeff also wins the Chef Excellence fight by, you guessed it, kicking the other guy in the nuts. Ashley even demands that Ashens hand over the Gamechild bomb, but he refuses and instead drops it and it explodes, but not that much, a weak-ass nuke I guess, and before Ashley can kill Ashens in response, Miriam, who's cut herself free, knocks her out. And then that's pretty much it. All's well that ends well, I guess. The bad dudes are arrested, and Ashens and friends all have a big old party to end the film. There's also a post-credit scene which shows that Ashley has been committed to a mental asylum. Alright, so the thing I mentioned before I went for the film about this possibly being niche, was it? Yeah, I think it was. It really, to me, seems like something, because I didn't get it as much, and I think I definitely would have gotten it if I was a watcher of the channel. I've also read some reviews that have said basically the same thing, and because I'm self-aware of that, I'm not gonna dump on this, because yeah, I didn't get it as much, I didn't enjoy it as much, but I am self-aware that this was not really made for me. And if you're watching this and you're not a viewer of Ashens, it wasn't really made for you either. It was made as a niche thing for his audience. So because of that, I can't judge the plot too much. What I can judge is the actors' performances, and I gotta say, Ashens himself is actually a pretty good actor. He was probably the best actor in this whole movie, aside from, you know, the two major actors. I gotta say, the guy who played Jeff, though, really took me out of it. Like, he was just way too camp and just way too overacting. Like, the guy who played Nemesis was overacting too, but it kind of worked because he was playing a villain role and also he wasn't in the film as much. Jeff was in the whole film, all the time, and yeah, I wasn't vibing with his performance, to be honest with you. He was just a little bit too annoying for my taste. And even though I said I wasn't going to criticize the plot too much, I will say the nuclear bomb thing with the Gamechild and it not really being a nuke, that was just fucking ridiculous, I gotta be honest. I mean, it was supposed to be a ridiculous film, but what the hell? But yeah, usually at the end I say here whether or not I recommend this film, and again, it really depends. Do you watch Ashens? Do you like his stuff? Do you know a lot about his channel? Then yeah, I'd recommend this. Do you not have a fucking clue who that is, however? Have you never watched him before? Then no, I really can't. This is really very much a niche film and very much made for his audience. And that's okay. Maybe, you know, doesn't work as well in the context of a movie review, but that's okay. But that is it from me today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave it a like. Thank you, James, for using your points on this. I appreciate it. If you want to look at any of my social media links, they're all in the video description down below, as well as names of my Patrons. Thank you to my Patrons for supporting me and my channels. I appreciate you guys. With all that being said, though, my name is Noah Taft. This has been my movie look back at Ashens and the Quest for the Gamechild, released in 2013, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.